everybody! How you doing? Remember us? Remember us? These jokers? Who are these people? Another calendar year has gone, another calendar shorn of its pages, and we arrive once again at the most exciting time of the year for us and you out there in listener land, I'm pretty sure. Somehow we all made it, and you are just in time to get your ears blasted full of the Sockscast Game of the Year Spectacular. Welcome to day one of the festivities. Just because we really haven't done this in a year doesn't mean we got to put the training wheels back on. We know our craft. We invented the podcast, just like Diddy invented the remix and sexual assault. We invented the podcast. How you doing? How's everybody feeling? Are you shaking it out? Are you ready? Are you getting excited?
I'm on a standing desk. I'm standing up for this.
You're not going to be standing for 7 hours of us recording
the whole
this.
Time. Let's go. Let's do it.
I mean, if you do it, props to you. I mean, I'm not going to give you an award or anything for it. There's nothing special in it for you, but I'll, you know what? Be a hell of a thing to, put on the old resume.
I'm already like kind of eyeballing that chair, like.
Yeah, you realize that these are very epic journeys for us at the end of every year. So here we are. And of course, let's see if I remember how to do this. To my immediate virtual right, he's been told his tongue is very big. It's red.
That's a true story.
It is. It is.
From girls and dentists.
What about girl dentists?
I think that it was. My dentist is a girl, so.
All right, well, there you go. But
it was like, get this fucking thing out of the way. I'm trying to work it here.
What is this gigantic hunk of meat that you've chosen? You said you're a vegetarian, right? Are you sure you're not just holding a giant-ass cartoon steak in here for some reason?
Perpetually in my mouth, just unable to swallow.
You cannot swallow. This is your curse. This is your curse. You're ready for Game of the Year, Rhett?
I'm so ready.
You're so ready? All right.
So jazzed. Got a killer list for you all today.
Oh, I bet you do. I'm pretty sure we'll surprise one another a lot, seeing as that we've not really done a podcast.
Yeah, we don't know what each other played.
So
really.
We're not 100% sure. Like, this is probably the most exciting one we've done in a while. To my immediate virtual left, you want to get high? Here, bitch, just sniff this. It's John Byer.
Hi.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
I'm coming off of a cold. My second cold of the year, and I'm very angry about this one. I'm very angry because I only get sick once a year. It only happens once a year, and it's like, you know what? I feel like I had an agreement with somebody, and I feel like I've been betrayed. This is like #1 anime betrayal. So I ended up getting sick like the week before last Friday and thinking, oh God, I really need to be feeling good in like 7 days. And I'm still I'm still like, you can hear it. Like, I've still got a bit going on. Like, I'm wondering if I will have a voice by the end of this. Like, or if I'm just going to have to be shotgunning my list to read this for me. But we'll see. We'll see. So I don't want to alarm either of you, but I do have a very important announcement to make.
Oh. Yeah.
This is the 10th time that we have done a Game of the Year show. I just feel like that's worth mentioning as a milestone. We've done...
So next month, look for top 10 Game of the Years.
There you go. I'll do it. I would listen back to all those and rank those lists if you want to. That'd be great.
The 2017 one fucking killed it.
Oh God, 2017 was actually really good, wasn't it?
I think that's what I did. You mean Nikki?
No,
stand by that. Hell yeah.
Actually, there was a lot that year.
There's like there's the year that John chose the
Homestuck. You always go back to that one.
We go back like that's literally like
the year John didn't pick a game for Game of the Year.
Yeah, the stinky turdy bottom. Like that's like literal. Like you don't even have to guess what 10 is. Like that's just a dead giveaway. But yeah, I just thought it would be nice to point out, hey, this is number 10, and thanks everybody for making this possible. Everybody stays so excited about these things, which means, it's not just us that are excited, it's a bunch of people, and we, oh boy, it just keeps happening every year. So, For those of you who don't know how this works, and there are people out there I know that are listening for the first time this year that do not know how this works, I don't know how that keeps happening, being as old of a community as we are, and people are still coming in new, still jumping in. It's great. We love you. We love all the newcomers, and we hope that you enjoy your time here, and we hope that you enjoyed the podcast. But myself and my astonishingly fabulous co-hosts will be going over our top 10 games that we played in the year 2023, and today we will be tackling entries 10 through 6. We will also be regaling you with listener lists provided by all of our beautiful and gorgeous and lovely people from the SocksMakePeopleSexy.net community. And despite the fact that we weren't even a regular podcast this year, somehow we still ended up with like 1,800 lists. So the only other catch with Game of the Year is that, like every year, is that the year of release does not matter. If you played it in the last 365 days, you got the right to put it on your list. So with that, I think it's time to get this show on the road. We got a whole lot to get through here over the next couple days, so get your spoons out and let's dig right in. John, start us with the showstopper. You're going to kick things up.
This is gonna. Oh no! This one's gonna set the tone.
All right,
I made a mistake.
Is it a good year or a bad year? John Thayer is about to determine that.
Is he going to see a shadow?
My number 10 for Game of the Year 2023, our 10th Game of the Year list we've recorded. Mm-hmm. My number 10 is 10 Tales from the Records of the Adamant Gambit.
Just killing it.
Just a
showstopper.
So what is that?
Literally a showstopper. Good job.
I know, right? I have to double check. It's yes, Records of the Adamant Gambit. This is an anthology game. It was made by 10 different people. Some of them from the Domino community, some of them just, I think most of them from the Domino community, but it's not part of the Domino club, collect necessarily. But it's just 10 games, a lot of them Bitsy games. It's just like a lot of interactive fiction stories that take place on this spaceship, that's traveling through, it's a 1,000-year journey of this spaceship. And it's not about reaching the destination. It's not about where they're going. It's not about this big epic quest or anything. It's just, what does life on this spaceship look like over these generations of people traveling? Mm-hmm. So it deals with like kids. It is like there's one about a kid telling a ghost story. There's one about two ladies on a date, getting coffee. Like there's multiple text games. There's a Bitsy game that's in Bitsy 3D where it's still Bitsy, but it's first person.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I have to check that out just because that's an interesting concept. I've not.
Yeah, here, I'll post it in here. I think most of the games are available for free. If you pay $10, you get a full launcher that you can.
Sure.
It's kind of like a framing thing to launch each of the 10 games. Mm-hmm. And it has like commentary and sheet music for the soundtrack, and that's really wild. But this thing is just really cool. It take a couple hours. It's just one of the most nice, humble, cool, conceptually cool works of interactive fiction I've seen this year. And I'm kind of crazy about the anthology game approach now, where it's a bunch of cool, creative people making little stories that feed into each other in cool ways. I think that's just rad as hell.
Yeah.
So I love this game. I'm really glad I
made it work a few times now. No one else could do it.
No one else.
Check out Vextro's Slime Wave, everybody. Woo! All right. That one's a little different. This year is more of a normal jam where it's just we each made a game according to a theme instead of like a chain game or something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like this. 10 Tales from the Records of the Adamant Gambit. So next is Rat. What's your number 10?
So for me, the number 10 spot is always the game you refuse to let go of. And I had several games kind of vying in contention for this spot, but I decided to go with my number 10 is Flare Nui Nui Quest.
Yeah! Yes! This one's really cool. I liked this game.
This is a HoloLive fan game.
I didn't even know it was a HoloLive fan game until I saw.
Oh my god, really?
I didn't know it was a HoloLive fan game until I got to the Pecora right at the start, and I was okay. Cause I didn't know. I just saw it's really cute. I don't know these characters.
Yeah, so this is a free little Mega Man riff on Hololive characters. It's kind of reminded me of Shovel Knight as well because of like the graphical style. Like
John's favorite.
It's not 8-bit, but it's punched up a bit, and then all the music is also actually done in Famitracker.
Yes, I was eating good. Like I was just like, anytime a new song started, it's just me sitting there listening. Like, what are the tracks doing? It sounds so good.
The soundtrack is so crazy because it's all Hololive songs remixed.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Some of them are really remixed. Like the Stage 5 theme is like this really grungy, dirty take on an Idol song. It's like 10% speed to just be like dun 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 dun, dun dun. It's like, what the hell did you do that song? That's awesome. And this one just had it took me off guard because it has like good storytelling chops for such a small game.
It really does, yeah.
Because you beat it and you get a bad ending and you're like, what the fuck? And then you find out, oh, there's a way to go back and get another item, unlock a different playable character for the last stage, and then get the true ending.
Yep.
And there's a boss fight on an elevator against the first against the girl you're playing as for most of the game.
Yeah.
And then there's the 2 team-up fight against the true final boss. And it's very much like Shovel Knight, where like you don't actually damage the final boss, your girlfriend has to.
Yeah.
So you have to keep her safe. You're like kind of doing the Shield Knight thing.
That and the Bloodstained finale, Curse of the Moon, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what that reminded me of. Yeah. This game's awesome. Like, I loved it.
Yeah. And then very recently they updated with 2 bonus stages that are kind of hard as fuck.
I mean, that's what you do when you finish a game, right? You go and you make the super hard stuff after.
It was like, hey, beat like 5 new bosses based on the English girls, and you have to do it in one life.
You gotta do it in one life. I didn't think it was that bad.
It was weird. I got stuck on Ina real bad, and then Ina was the hardest one for me for some reason, just because I think it takes a while.
Yeah, she's the longest.
But then once I got past that, I flew through the others in like one life, and I was like, oh, okay, weird.
Yeah.
And then I tried to do it as the other character, and it was like, oh, melee, fuck this.
Much harder.
I cannot.
Yeah.
Much harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that game's really neat, and it was made by 2 people, and that's worth appreciating.
That's so cool.
It's just one guy did the whole game, and then the soundtrack.
The soundtrack guy. Yeah.
Assuming they're guys I don't actually know.
I don't know, but yeah. Like, I watched Beepner play a bit of this, and I immediately
I saw he streamed it right before.
I immediately went and downloaded it and played it the next day in one sitting. I had a ball with this game. It's really good. It's really good. It's really fun. Like I've not sat down and just played a fun little platformer in a long time, and that game just. It did it for me. I loved it.
I played it back in like January, February, and I was like, shit, is this going to be on Game of the Year?
Hell yeah, it deserves it. It deserves it.
So, Polly.
Yo!
Do you have a number 10?
I've got a number 10, and I'd like to first start by informing everyone that throughout my list, there will be 1 or 2 special zones we're going to go through. And the first zone that we are about to enter is one that I like to refer to as Hell Has Frozen Over Zone. My first 2 entries are truly a sign that we are at the end of times, and I'm not going to apologize for the apocalypse that I am about to bring unto the world. So, my first game...
You finally like the Skipmore game.
There you go. No, can't do that anymore. The first one definitely has some side history. I know a good number of people in the community come from this time as well. So when people hear the words Phantasy Star Universe come out of my mouth... in reference to a Game of the Year list, I expect a lot of drop jaws and just reaching for the pause and rewind buttons on MP3 players right about now. It's like Rhett over here. I'm going to give him a chance to kind of...
I'm listening on turntable, so I just did the...
Phantasy Star Universe. Phantasy Star Universe. Phantasy Star Universe. Yeah, that happened. So, I won't go into what got us started playing this game, because I don't want to touch any sore spots. But afterward, myself, Rhett, Iffy, and Beepner ended up kind of playing like 20 or so hours of this game on the PSU Clementine private server. And I just honestly had a really great time with it. Like, there was no commitments to continue playing or, like, worrying about your equipment or your build.
It is pretty easy now with some of the leveling stuff they did.
Yeah, like, I wasn't sitting there, like, I'm not raising a partner machinery. I ain't doing that shit. I'm not sitting here worrying about percents on my damn weapons. I don't care.
Oh, my ice bullet's only level 1 and it takes 3 hours to grind.
No, not on Clementine. It only takes about...
No.
It only
30
takes
seconds.
about 3 seconds to level your bullets to good potency. But I think we put together about 4 or 5 weekends each of, like, 3 or so hours at a time of just beating stuff up and seeing, like, what that game could be like with a more arcadey style progression and not worrying about anything, right? Like, I think we saw pretty much all the content the game has.
Yeah, we took one weekend for each of the major areas and just kind of blasted through it.
Yeah,
and you're right. It was very arcadey. And hey, you're just beating stuff up. It's easy. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
like, enemies are just fucking flying everywhere. You're just, like, throwing enemies around with photon arcs. You don't care. Like, people aren't there whining about percents on your weapons or your armor. It's just... It was just like for me, like it was just like it was just nice to have, like, a place to be with something to do with friends for a little bit, and I in all these in the past 10 plus years, I'd never have predicted in a million years that thing would be Fantasy fucking Star Universe. So that
was a fun time.
That ended up being like I don't know. I'm not gonna call it a redemption arc. Or anything for Phantasy Star Universe, but the fact that, like, I can give it a nod here on a Game of the Year list in the year of our Lord 2023 feels significant in some way, and I think it's like a funny epilogue to, like, the way we've trashed that game over the years, in the community and on the site and stuff. We've just given that
wrote
game
some words on that. Yeah,
we've given that game some hell, and the fact that, like,
I think I read those. I read those write-ups like 15 years ago or something.
Oh, we're all just sitting here crumbling to dust. Just as every word pours out of your mouth, we're just sitting here literally dying. But yeah, that's my number 10, Phantasy Star Universe. I sit here completely amazed that this is a thing that happened. All right, so with our 10s out of the way, it's time to jump into the meat of the show, why we are here. It's time to take it to the listeners and find out what their best gaming experiences of the year 2023 were. And I do believe, Rhett, you've got a list to get us started.
This one comes in from Iffy.
Hey! Wifey of the year again. Well, imagine that.
Man, she won again. You spoiled it.
I mean, come on. Like, it's just a foregone conclusion. She's just going to win. Like, what can you do?
What can you do? Okay, so she writes in her top 3 games of the year. Number 3, Monster Hunter Rise. Oh. I had been trying to get into Monster Hunter for years, and Rise was finally the title where the game felt really comfortable to me. I didn't end up getting into high-level content, but I enjoyed the core gameplay, and I think that sets it above Monster Hunter World, even though I liked World's setting better. It gets very samey and repetitive after a while, but Rise was a fun way to scratch the action RPG itch.
Dope.
And number 2, Honkai Star Rail. I never expected to get into a gacha game, but Star Rail hooked me in with its aesthetic, space setting, and better than expected writing. I enjoyed the plot of the game far more than I expected to, and the character development was solid, plus it has some of the most incredible boss battles I've ever seen.
Ooh, yeah.
Stell in particular continually cracked me up and actually became a very relatable character for how she expresses her gender identity, and how neither her nor Kalis go out of their way to express themselves in an overtly masculine or feminine.
Yep.
It got too grindy for me at higher levels, and I ran into the content drip feed ceiling, but I had a great time with this one.
That's really nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good video game right there.
Surprisingly, the gacha game that got everyone this year.
The gacha game that literally got everybody.
And I saw this one coming. Number 1, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah, that tracks.
Sar playing that one a lot. Yeah, that tracks.
I knew I was going to love this game before I ever started it, but I didn't expect it to be a lock for the esteemed better than Chrono Trigger tier. And and direct competitor to Trails in the Sky the Third and Ys 8 in my all-time favorite games list. This was Monolith Soft's finest work, and it shows best in the world design and character development of Ionos. All the hidden lore from 1 and 2 scattered around made exploring the world even more fun. I found a new character that I see much of myself in with Senna, and I fell in love with the other party members in Heroes 2. I also finished Future Redeemed, threw myself into Xenosaga lore, and I'm currently doing post-game content in the main game. I think the writers of this game had very strong opinions about the state of our own world, and I think it's impressive that they told a story as powerful as a full Trails arc in a single game. I'm going to be thinking about the implications of the plot and Senna's growth as a character for a long time, and I think this has spurred some mental health development within me that I've needed my entire life. Easily Game of the Year.
Man, that is a ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Cool. All right. So now is that the end of the list?
Yeah.
All right, Tom list.
Tom?
This is from the Dark Lord Thomas, Jetstorm 4.
The Jetstorm 4?
The Jetstorm 4. Hey, Sockscast. I'm back, and this time I'm bringing you 3 video games that I absolutely loved playing this year. My stipulation for this is no remakes or remasters, personally, because if it was, then my list would just be Baten Kados and Star Ocean. More Monolith Soft love. Anyway, here it is. Number 3, Blue Reflection Second Light. I knew going in this would be a very different game from the first, but it still has the shared factors of girls, gay, and magical transformations.
Perfect.
The structure is even more Atelier-like, and the battle system has changed to be more of an active time-like system, but it all works well. Plus, it's way more gay than the first game, so what's not to like? Beautiful. Number 2, Xenoblade 3, Future Redeemed. This one might come up a lot.
Yeah, I got a feeling.
My favorite of the mini Xenoblades. Oh wait, this is the DLC.
Yeah, that's the DLC.
My favorite of the mini Xenoblades, including like Torn of the Golden Country and Future Connected. Future Redeemed is a really cool prequel and epilogue all at once to what's become my favorite modern day series of video games. While not much has changed between it and base Xenoblade 3 for its combat, not much really had to since it all still works really well. The callbacks were there, but they honestly never felt forced, which felt nice, much like the base game. It was a really nice journey to go on, and has my favorite music track of the year I've listened to constantly since finishing the game, Cent Omnia Region Night. Fantastic. Ooh, number 1, Monochrome Mobius, Rights and Wrongs Forgotten for PS5. Those mad genius writers and planners over at Aquaplus decided to reward Tom with a full turn-based RPG that acts as an incredible prequel to Utawaru Umino, Mask of Deception, but also decided to make it a satisfying romp through their incredible fantasy world they developed, even if it's maybe a bit too easy, even on hard mode. I'll spare the details, but it was a great ride, and still proves that the track Moonlit Flowers will never not make me cry. Best wishes for the remainder of the year and the year to come. Something tells me we're all going to need it.
Love you, Tom.
The Dark Lord Thomas, Jetstorm 4L. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Love you to bits.
All right. So I also have a listener list.
Okay, can you handle this one?
I think I'm surprised. Why didn't you give yourself? Like, you always give yourself this one. So that's why I'm shocked. Anyway, this list comes from our good pal Garden, who says, "Hi, this is the artist formerly known as Taylor," and just kind of lists some games. We got Baldur's Gate 3. Which, good lord, yeah, like that's that's even I'm just kind of like I kind of wanna, you know, I'm just seeing a lot about that game.
The one touch of the AAA that seeps in here.
Yeah. Here's their second game, Synchronize. I don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. Stinchronize, more like it. And Star Trek Resurgence. I did not even know they still made Star Trek video games. I played one on the Genesis that I really liked back in the day. Anyway, Taylor says, Garden says, Garden says, I played more games than this, but the remaining choices either featured in a previous list or they're worse than Star Trek Resurgence, which is saying something.
That means Synchronize is better.
That means Synchronize. Yeah, based on that wording, I feel like I beat out a Star Trek game, so I think I've got to kind of wear.
But you didn't beat Baldur's Gate 3.
I didn't beat Baldur's Gate 3, but I can put on my itch page that I am officially better than Star Trek Resurgence. So I think I will put that on Synchronize's itch page later.
Beautiful.
All right. So, of course, we've also got some audio submissions, which makes life a hell of a lot easier for us. And we love these. Our first one comes in from Exendre, who is also known as 10 Evil Stars. Good friend of mine. I assume everybody's ready and got these queued up. Mm-hmm. We all good? All right, then we will hit play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Hey there, Sockscast. Extended here with my favorite games that I've played this year. First on this list is Holocure. This wonderful game is a great vampire survivor-style twin-stick game that is just packed to the brim with neat and interesting content, and is always being worked on with new content planned over time. As a Hololive fan, I absolutely adore all the various references sprinkled in with the amazing fan art, the talent, and the remixes of some of their music released in the last years. It is a wonderful fruit of love and labor from fans, and it has yet to leave my mind since for more than a week since the first time I played it. The next game on this list is Old School RuneScape. An old MMO that I've played off and on for the last 20 years continues to be a true king title in all of the games I have and currently play. An experience that truly embodies grind set mentality. It's constructed in such a way that will always keep you busy at all stages of the game, but has so much variety and freedom in its simplistic yet in-depth system to always feel like you aren't forced to do one thing. With the introduction of Iron Man game mode, it provided even a veteran player like me an incredibly new way to play the game and learn things I had overlooked for years. Last game for me is Muse Dash. As a rhythm game junkie, I am always looking for a new traditional style game to play for rhythm games, and this one hits all the right notes for every beat I play by. Although it's a simple game to pick up and learn, it has a broad range of difficulty to always keep you trying to get better through a difficulty system that scores you on accuracy and points separately for people of all play styles. Couple this with a very dynamic range of music genre and selection, it provides an experience that justifies every hour I've sunk into this game. I heavily encourage anybody to try any of these games. Thanks.
Thank you, Tess. Much appreciated. Holocure. I kind of feel like we're going to hear about that one a couple more times. That's one I kind of want to get into. I just never got around to it. And Muse Dash is baller. I like Muse Dash a lot. Yeah.
I love the diversity in that list.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
What was it? Holocure into RuneScape was like, oh, okay.
There's a smash transition for you, huh?
RuneScape was where I first used the username Chronomaniac.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh my god, really?
We've traced the origins! We've done it! The deepest of Sockscast lore. You only gonna get it on a Game of the Year podcast in 2023. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? Thank you so much, Tess. Appreciate you sending in a list. All right, we are moving on. Rhett, can we have a number 9?
Yeah, we can.
All right.
I didn't plan this. I kind of just rotated who goes in what order, just to keep things fresh. And I put the lists in the order they were received, basically. My number 9 is Holocure.
Nice!
Holocure Save the Fans.
Yeah.
And this one's funny because it almost made the list last year, and then I played Berseria and Fata Morgana that pushed it and Vampire Survivors off the list into honorable mentions.
Right.
But now it's back. It's back, and it's on the main list this time.
It made it. It needed that time in the oven. It needed a little bit of extra love. It needed time to mature. You know how they say, come back and fight.
It actually did.
Exactly. Hey, come back in 10 years when you're ready to fight me. Well, they came back in 1 year, and Holocure seems like, God, the amount of quality in this game is...
The amount of content got crazy, because basically... I played Vampire Survivors last year for a bit, and then I played Holocure, the very first update, and was like, hey, this is really good. And then they updated it, and I just was kind of done with that style of game at that time. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm kind of over this. And then, so that was the first update, and then they updated it again, and I didn't play it. And then they updated it again this year, version 0.7 or something. Added, 9 more characters, another stage. So I finally went, and they added the whole farming, fishing, hollow house system. And that was kind of what got me in, okay, I'm just going to play it and fish for a bit. That seems fun. Just make numbers go up very passively.
Yeah.
And then, so I do that, and then it's like, oh, I've got like 1 million coins. I can probably buy some upgrades for the main game. And then I start playing the main game again. I'm like, shit, this is fun.
Oh no, it all funnels into everything perfectly.
There's just so, like, there were like 10 characters when I played, and now there's probably like 30 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Like, it's still not everyone, but it's like, it's so many characters, and they do such a better job than Vampire Survivors when I played it of having each character feel different.
Yeah.
Because every character's got their unique main weapon. Every character has, like, these unique skills.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this character is kind of shy, so her skills are about keeping enemies away.
Yeah.
She does more damage from a distance. Or, like, this character, when they pick up coins, they make shadow clones of themselves to triple your attack. Mm-hmm. It's like everyone plays really differently, and you have to, like, build your stats, like, what you pick up in items around that. Maximize.
Instead of just like shotgunning yourself to like the perfect item like the perfect item synchronizing. Yeah.
It's very easy for this kind of game to be like, this is my favorite item. I'm going to pick it up every single time and just make the same build over and over, and that gets kind of boring. And I just think like the design of this game is just, it's much more active than I would expect from the genre Origins, where it's like, oh, this is just kind of actually a good twin stick shooter now.
Yeah, that's like, really, I think the big difference is that this is definitely a more involved game than Vampire
Like, the first stage is pretty much just stuff walking towards you, and then as you get further and further into the hard content, it's like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that shoots back at you, and you have to dodge. Mm-hmm. Like, the stage 2 boss is just, oh, I just fly around and do Danmaku. It's just like, oh, it's a bullet hell game now. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this. I'm looking forward to whatever they do next. They look like they might be doing some Binding of Isaac dungeon mode. I'm like, what the fuck?
What are they doing? Like, they keep adding modes. And I'm just like, what are you doing? What is this game going to be? What does the final, like, in-game version of this game look like?
I know, it's crazy, because then they're like, also, we have plans for a casino, which is basically, if we feel like adding any sort of minigame, we just throw it over there. And I'm just like, oh my god, the content scope of this is out of control.
But they seem to be handling it well, so...
They are, yeah.
And they're not charging for it, so...
The creator, KU, is so adamant that he will never make money from this.
Yeah. Like, I think, wasn't he even offered a chance to publish with HoloLive? Like, with their game
I'm not sure
label?
if he was offered, but he immediately declined.
Gotcha.
When he found out about that deal.
Okay.
Interesting. I think... It's very... Hey, you're down 2 for 2 on HoloLive fan games.
Well, okay, that's where it's going to stay, because there aren't that many that I've played. Could you imagine if I came here and just listed 10?
10 HoloLive games? That'd be
HoloLive would have to be Game of the Year, but then number two would be Flare Nui Nui, and then number 3 would be like Finding Hope, Delivering Hope.
Mm.
And then
number two out of nowhere is like a Toho fan game, and then number 1 is another HoloLive fan game.
Yeah, there you go.
Back to the roots in like a second. Yeah. I'm sorry. I gave you this great idea for a bit, and it's too late.
That would be a hard bit to commit to.
Yeah.
Yeah. HoloCure is pretty cool. And yeah, if they do significant updates in the next year,
like,
I imagine, return.
Yeah, this is one I absolutely see returning, because they are just so on top of keeping this thing fed with content.
The developer tweeted when Fuomoko debuted, like, oh my god, I have to make an Ice Climbers type character now.
Yep, gotta figure that out.
Good luck. So who's next? We got Polly.
Yo, how's it going? All right. So.
Do you have a number 9?
My number 9 is born from the idea of, I don't want to play video games anymore. That's kind of really where I was when I decided to check out Honkai Star Rail.
Oh my god.
I checked this game out on its opening weekend. Again, this is like the final boss of the Hell is Frozen Over zone.
The gacha game.
The gacha game, of course. So I remember the game launched on a Friday, I think, and I know that I started playing it on a Saturday morning because I kept seeing screenshots on my timeline, and their characters was just like, and it looked so good in motion. It's like, there is no way this is a gacha game. This cannot be. And like, why is it this good? It has to suck, right? I'm downloading this because I want to confirm that it's trash. And I want to be there and bah humbug everybody getting up their ass about it, right? And then, like, at the end of my first play session, I'd somehow burned through nearly 5 hours of playing the game straight.
Shit.
Like, that was my Saturday, basically. I played that game from, like, 10 in the morning till 3 p.m. And this game would hold interest for at least another 3 months after release, which is probably, like, that's the best any gacha game is going to snag me, I think. Like, 3 months, and I played nearly every day. I even paid, like, I threw them the $5 for, like, the extra login bonus, just to get extra, shards and shit. It's like, yes, I'll do that. But I think the bottom line is that there's, like, Star Rail is just the damn truth. Like, it's, like, despite the fact that it is a game that is monetized to hell and back, its monetization never felt pushy, it never felt scummy, and it never felt limiting. Everything about the game, to me anyway, even though I'm sure that it was not the methodology behind it, but it feels to me like it was a game that was engineered to first and foremost be a competent, fun, and challenging game. And again, maybe that wasn't the priority, but what counts is that's what it feels like. Like the turn-based RPG combat is ridiculously engaging and fun. It's very hard. I did not expect this game to have the teeth that it has, and it's not like, and I never felt at any point that it's like, oh well, I'm getting my ass beat because I gotta go, throw money at characters or something, or try to, It always felt like, no, I can overcome this with just a better team composition and maybe looking at my gear a little bit. And for the most part, that's how it handled. Like, this is a game where it's very easy to fall into a hole of team composition and character. But dude, I have hours of DM conversations with people in my inbox with people discussing builds and strats. It's honestly kind of insane. And the devs themselves in interviews have said that, like, the Trails games were a big inspiration for how they wanted to come at this game. And, like, the battle system is obviously riffing on that. Like, it's got, like, the same turn-based battle system. It's got S breaks that you can break in and do ults and shit. The writing, like, even, like, down to, like, the most mundane of side missions often just have a lot of character. As Iffy mentioned, like, Stell, like, despite the fact that Stell is a silent protagonist, they've somehow given Stell this amazing amount of personality that's just, like, like she is a meme front to back somehow, but she never speaks a word. It's honestly buck wild.
The conversation choices in that game seem so choice.
Oh my god, they're so good. Like, and they often give you the choice of, like, kind of being a jerk, kind of being funny, or kind of just going along with it. So it never feels like they've still just written this character one way. You can still just, like, give everybody the dickhead answers and they'll respond to you in kind, but, like, it's just like, okay, fine. And then, like, the whole bit of, like, the character just, like, loving trash cans for some reason. Like, she sees a trash can, she's gotta inspect it. She loves trash cans. But, like, I love this game's characters, its world. I wish that this was, like, a single-player game that I could just play through. Like, I wish it was just this big multi-game space opera or something where you put all this stuff together. I'm still not sold on gacha as a concept, but, like, this is a game that, like, I've absolutely recommended to people, and I honestly think that, like, the gacha systems that are at play are, like, they feel very generous to me. Like, I at no point ever felt like I was, like, starved for resources. I never felt like the game was cutting me off. I never felt like the difficulty was just the difficulty being assholish because they wanted me to dump more money in. Like, it's weird how generous they've been, and, like, they're continuing to update this game with events all the time. Like, they're just so on top of this game in a way that, like, oh yeah, like, okay, yeah, this is definitely a game that earned $100 million in its first weekend of operation. Yeah. Okay. Also, Silverwolf is best video game wifey of the year.
You played that initial 5 hours going, when do I see her again?
When do I get her again? When do I get her again? Literally, like, my entire first month of playing Star Rail was saving as much premium currency as I could to pull
to get
for
the
Silverwolf.
Guarantee.
To get the guarantee. And I still pulled her on my first 10 pull, baby.
Nice.
So funny.
It's so
I
good.
I did play like 7 hours of Honkai Impact, my third Impact, and goddamn, those are pretty girls.
They really are. Like, they've...
MiHoYo. They're
Hoyo,
labs.
Yeah, Hoyo has gotten pretty girls down to a science. They've got a pretty girl for every type you can imagine. They got a girl for it.
They have like 100 clones of Rhett in a lab, in a basement lab that they're just have like Clockwork Orange with the eyes peeled open as they like flash different girl designs and like extract data.
Neuron stimulation.
Yep.
They've got a bunch of pads on their heads.
Oh, there's stimulation. So yeah,
and they've just got the best girls now.
That's my number 9, Honkai Star Rail. I hope that the hell is frozen over zone delivered. I hope everybody enjoyed. All right, John, number 9.
Well, I feel like this is going to be very in keeping with the spirit of the last two games we talked about.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
My number 9 is Photopia. This is a piece of interactive fiction from 1998, written in Inform. So I had a bunch of friends that went down a deep IF hole. These are games that are like inspired by...
Wait, a deep iffy hole?
Like classic Zork.
Yeah.
What's the name of that
They're
company?
parser games, baby.
Yeah, parser games. Classic Infocom games. And like I was kind of dimly aware of this world through Andrew Plotkin's writing. Mm-hmm. But I still haven't plugged it very much of it. But one of the ones I did play was Photopia, which is like 45 minutes long. It's mostly linear. The puzzles are very straightforward. And it's just really, really, really sad. I cried a whole lot at this game.
It's a lot of tears for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I remember you tweeting earlier about 2 games that were about a half an hour long that made you cry. So this is one of them. Right.
Yeah, I think the other one, I played Circle of Charity around the same time. I didn't quite make it, but I really, really liked that one too.
Cool. I didn't realize this was from 98.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I thought this was just modern indie game.
That's the thing. This feels like so ahead of the curve.
Well, Red, it's a sad game. It's a sad game with words in it. Yes, it's an indie game in 2023. I understand how that might be an easy misconception to make.
And it's 30 minutes long.
And
it just
it's 30
felt
minutes. Yeah, it's perfect.
It felt like an itch.io.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm sorry.
That's the thing, is that this, like, it feels very in keeping with the spirit of games I play a lot now.
Yeah.
But it's from the 90s. It's just like, wow, we've always been doing this. We've always been making games that are personal.
It was just a
and
lot harder back then.
Yeah. The tools were trickier. So I recognize that like this is probably a pretty common, pretty basic, like, hey, interactive fiction could do such cool things. So this is, I hope for this to be kind of the start of like a deeper exploration. But it just hit me so good, and it's so far ahead of the curve. It's really funny because it's kind of like a lot of the story here is very similar to Dear Esther.
Oh.
And it's so much fucking better than Dear Esther.
Dumpster Esther. Jesus.
I'm just looking back like, oh my god, people took Dear Esther so seriously in 2012.
That was
and 14 years earlier, this game just dumpstered it, just destroyed it.
Uncool of the devs to use the time machine like that.
Right? I know.
Oh my god! So yeah, I can just see people who are in this scene, like seeing other people go like, "Oh, look at truly games can just be focused on stories. They don't have to have shooting." And be like, "Yo, where have you fucking been?" So I love this one, Photopia. It's free. It's online. You can play it. Play in 45 minutes. You can play it. You can pause and go play right now. I loved it.
All right, I'll go do that. All right.
Polly, you got a list for us?
I do believe I have a listener list coming in from our good pal Tengu Gemini. Real good guy. Love having this guy around. Always such a delight. Got 3 big old games for us. Number 3, I'm hearing this one a lot this year. A lot of people I follow are playing this one. Armored Core 6. This is my second from software game ever after Metal Wolf Chaos. Hey guys, I think this company might be really good at making action games, y'all. Really fun, high-speed mech action at its finest. Yeah, that game looks really good. Number 2, this one is on my, I'm waiting for you. You are going to be on sale next week list. Number 2 is Slay the Princess.
Yeah.
You have been tasked with killing a princess who is imprisoned in a cabin in the woods, and it's a love story. This game has tremendous writing and voice acting and is among my favorite VNs ever. Yeah, that one's real high on my to-do list for sure. And number 1, Resident Evil 4 Remake. Resident Evil 4 was a game I felt didn't need a remake because it's still an amazing game all these years later. That's absolutely true. So instead of just trying to make the same game but better, they made a remake that improves and expands on specific aspects of the original, but also goes for a slightly different tone, thereby keeping the original version having its own identity and still being worth playing. This remake is a companion to the original RE4, and I love it dearly.
That's the first good sell I've heard on that one.
Yeah, like that's PH liked it a whole lot too. I remember Psychic.
Awesome.
I have his copy of it right now.
Excellent.
I need to play that, and he's got a bonus number 0, transcending the list. Chatting with the SMPS community.
Aww.
One of the kindest, most positive groups of people I've ever met. And you are included in that list, friend. Thank you so much.
Love you, Tengu.
Hell yeah. All right. John, you got a listener list.
I've got a list from Last Sim on Earth.
Let's go.
Thanks for writing in. Let's read off your list. Hey, Sockscast. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Anyway, I've played some bangers this year and hope my affection for the games on my list helps send some positive energy. Number 3, Devil May Cry. People will argue that the first Devil May Cry is aged poorly and is unplayable compared to later character action games, both within and without of the DMC series. I respectfully disagree, as while it isn't quite as mechanically refined as Bayonetta or DMC5, there is still plenty of fun to be had with this early PS2 classic with challenging boss fights, a good sense of pacing, and brevity that encourages replaying it to see if you can get better at playing it. Though admittedly, I haven't actually taken advantage of this. Oops. Absolutely a must-play for anyone who's curious about the evolution of 3D action games. This is my favorite Kamiya game. I fucking love Devil May Cry 1 to bits.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
So goddamn good.
I want to check out that one specifically because it's the Kamiya one.
Hey, you can tell.
It'll treat you well, I think. If you can get past some of its small, like, look, this game was made in 2001 on a Resident Evil engine. If you can get past some of that, I think you will absolutely.
That's part of the appeal.
Yeah, I don't know about
it. Number 2, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. Considering the circumstances of the game's initial reveal, it came as a surprise to me that this turned out to be my favorite Final Fantasy game in years by a considerable margin. As someone who has historically bounced off Souls games, I ended up really enjoying this game's take on Souls combat and how fun it was to play around with the job abilities that still put up enough of a fight to get me to engage with the systems. However, what wound up ultimately winning me over was how it took the basic setup of Final Fantasy I and brilliantly reinterprets it to tell a story of the struggle of fighting for a better world and the compelling character journey of Jack Garland, who I now consider among the best protagonists in the series.
Yeah.
Dope. Number 1, Live Alive. I don't use the word masterpiece lightly, so it should really say something that that's one of the words I would absolutely use to describe Live Alive. The mini stories showcase how flexible the RPG format is in terms of what stories it can tell, ranging from sci-fi to western to martial arts, prehistorical, etc. But what really ties the game together to reach masterpiece status is how the end game ties these otherwise completely separate stories together. Even as other games have shown subtle influences from Live Alive, the game itself is still one of a kind and truly one of the GOATs of Square's catalog. I truly feel blessed to have finally experienced this previously unsung classic. God, I want to play this one so fucking bad.
This one's also on my list. Like, I need to get to this one.
I played a chunk of it in 2010, and I know because I talked to you about it on Mal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I need to get back. I mean to get back to it for 13 years.
Get back in touch with your poly
That's how
god
the backlog
self.
goes.
Yep. Your turn, Rhett.
Okay, this list comes in from Durante.
Hi, Durante. Thanks for sending in.
It's one game. I heard you all like Final Fantasy.
Love it. To pieces.
Yeah.
Okay, so Final Fantasy 16. Less the game of the year and more just the only brand new game I decided to play this year. A game to open your heart to. Far too simple for a JRPG. Far too easy for an action game. Deeply flawed in any number of ways. And yet I have never had more faith since I was very young that this franchise is now moving in a positive direction. Well, the main numbered ones, not the sequels, spin-offs, or remakes, which have all been doing well for quite a while. If only because for the first time since the PS2, this is a Final Fantasy game I found myself playing compulsively start to finish.
That's such a good feeling.
At the very start, Ben Starr's performance as Clive Rosefield is a singular achievement in game voice acting, and he makes the entire game worth it on its own. Starr reports that his favorite Final Fantasy is 8. Way to have taste, my man. which makes perfect sense since he brings exactly what the game does, an absolutely stunning and richly complex portrayal of a deeply flawed man who is nonetheless tasked with overcoming a perfect power. I'm probably getting suckered a bit by the fact that I can only relate all too well to the story of brothers separated by death, I'm sorry. But you do find yourself rooting for these two jerks. Can a Final Fantasy game be great if the only things it completely nails are having a great protagonist, compelling combat, and truly epic battle music? If so, Final Fantasy XVI is the first, no doubt about it, great Final Fantasy game in 20 years. Put another way, this is the first Final Fantasy since 10 I can easily imagine being somebody's adored favorite.
Oh,
That's woo.
cool.
Them's words right there, buddy. Woo. All right. Thank you, Durante.
Thank you so much, Durante.
All right, we have another audio list coming up. Let's relax them vocal cords a little bit and take a minute or so, exactly a minute or so, and enjoy a list coming in from our good pal, Sylvie. All right, and we will pop that list up in 3, 2, 1, play.
Hello, I'm Sylvie. My top 3 games of the year are Egwa RPG by Hubble, a lovely RPG game where you can create your own iguana and explore a cute world. Play it now. Elephantasy Flipside by Linker, an isometric platformer with a vast world and secrets around every corner. Peak exploration design. And Void Stranger. I can't overstate how much this massive, derelict labyrinth of a game awed me and moved me. I can feel its influence seeping into everything I try to create, and I think I'm already comfortable calling it one of my favorite games of all time. I'm glad there are people out there who feel the same longing I do. Thank you.
Thank you for...
By the way, that music was from Void Stranger. I didn't make it myself.
You're scared. That scared the crap out of me.
When I was previewing all these in advance...
Go ahead, Rhett.
When I was previewing all these in advance, I laughed when I opened that one because I'm just like, oh, I know where the BGM is from. And then timing the Void Stranger name drop to like the flourish. I'm
Fantastic.
like, fucking nailed it.
If you just search Iguana RPG, it's by Hubol, Hubol. Been eyeballing that one for a while. And I played Elephantasy, the first one, earlier this year, and it was really neat. So Flipside looks gorgeous. Cool. First Void Stranger mention.
A lot of really good, cool indie rep on this one. Like a lot of good, like itch.io core coming in this year. I'm liking that. I like having things on my slate to check out on itch.io because I'm lazy about looking for things on my own.
I probably played more itch games this year than I ever have. It's fucking great.
I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
I made it my mission to actually clear out my wish list.
Right.
Because I had like 20 games on it, and a few of them, like 5 of them had been on there for like 5 years.
Sure,
so I just made a thrust of it, and I did it.
Thrust.
Heh.
All right. Well, suppose it's time we move on to the number 8 position on our personal list, and I'll get things started. My number 8, like, the game it's really hard to talk about, because I feel like if I try to talk about it in any nuanced way, I'm giving away any part of it, and I really don't want to give it away. My number 8 is The Looker. I loved this game. This game was an absolute treat from the from start to
Oh
finish.
my god.
It is
Hell
an
yeah.
it is an amazing piece of satire, Rhett. You can't tell me it's not.
It is very funny for sure, but you haven't played The Witness. That's what I
No, I have not
about.
played The Witness, but I know enough about Jonathan Blow that I like. There's a version of The Witness I have in my head that this is a piss take on, and I feel like I probably wouldn't be all that far off the mark. Mm-hmm. So yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I got stuck on a puzzle on this one.
You got stuck on a puzzle in the looker.
Yeah.
There's one, like, was it the hedge maze?
Okay,
Yes.
the hedge maze. Yeah, that makes. Yeah, that
There's
one's
like a
really,
tiny bit of actual thinking required at one point.
That
Oh,
one took
horrible.
me a couple of minutes to figure out. Yeah,
But how about that ending?
we can't. No, don't even say a word. Don't say
Just
a
say
word.
how much you liked it.
It's. This game is not only just like a remarkably on point piss take of The Witness and the pretentiousness, fuckheadedness of Jonathan Blow. It's also just really fun and clever with its puzzle design. I think that like that's the best thing, is that, like, yes, this is a comedy game, but like there's actual like really fun solutions to the puzzles. Like every time, like, this is a game where I'm glad I streamed this, because I think that I love getting to go back and look at the moments of seeing the discovery happen in real time and being like, oh my god, this is actually like, it would be easy to make a very funny game about ha ha ha, Jonathan Blow is pretentious. And I think that, like, yes, I would play and probably like that game, but I like that there's like an actual game here that felt like a really fun little puzzle box to sort out. And like it's just a fun little puzzle game that's, yes, it's satire, but also, like, it's really funny. It's genuinely good. The puzzle solutions are really smart. Like, do not read a single thing about this game. Just go play it. It's free. There's absolutely no reason to not.
It feels like kind of in the spirit of back in the day, there were Pissed was a parody of Myst.
Yeah, Pissed being
like,
a parody of Myst. Yes.
Like, satire games are really rare, it feels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I like this one a whole lot. Like, and that's really like like I said, I don't want to say much more about it, and there's really not much more I can say about it other than that.
I just think the end is probably the hardest you laughed in a long time.
Oh my god, yeah, my reaction to that, like, I almost used it in the community creative showcase, but it's just like, no, I can't give this I can't give that away. I don't want to give that away, even though it's one of my best moments on stream ever. Like, I can't give that away. It's really good. This game's fun. It's funny. Go have a good time. Enjoy. You deserve a laugh. With the way the world's going, you deserve it. So that would be my number 8. I do believe that Sean.
It's me.
That is actually you. You're not even kidding this time.
Okay. Well, I hope y'all savor this, because I think this is the most Socks Core entry on this list.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah?
Get ready.
All right, I'm buckled up.
It's neither of you played it, but it's close. It's the closest.
Okay.
I think our normal vibe. My number 8, Uto wa Harume no Prelude to the Fallen.
Yeah, like I would probably play this. Yes.
Oh my god, I just really like this one. It's a VN. It's a modern update of a VN from 2002, based on the PS2 remake for PS4. You can play this game. You can play the sequel duology by the same author of the original game. So, but this first game stands on its own, and then there's the sequel duology, and then there's the new RPG that Tom mentioned. But yeah, it's just got an extremely lovable cast that you luxuriate in. This is a game where, like, it spends like 7 hours, you just living with all of these characters, getting to really love them.
Yeah.
Before the actual story really kicks off, and then at every stage they'll have these big, huge story moments, and then they'll have a lot of time where everyone just is unpacking it, processing what happened. So that you get to the end of the game with like 12 characters, 15 characters in the main cast, and you just love all of them. And I think what really brought this, it's partly an SRPG. That's maybe like 15-20% of the game. It's mostly a VN. It's very easy, which is nice for me because I'm a baby strategy gamer. The PS2 and PS4 remake have completely kind of revamped combat. I think Sting played a big part of it. So it seems a lot more fleshed out than the original game's combat. And there is a hard mode, so maybe that would be really satisfying. I don't know.
Could be.
But what really sold this one for me is like in the last 10 hours or so, it's like 40 hours ish. So that's 50 because this for the first time I was letting all the VA play out the entire game because I was playing it with Cecile.
What kind of freak does that?
I know. I didn't realize. I found out that people just do that. They just let all the VA play out, and I tell you, it was torture starting out. It was really hard.
See, I have methods to this madness. Like, if it's just like normal conversations happening and it's not like super plot intensive, I'm like, okay. I usually like, I press the button as soon as I'm done reading the line, and hearing like the intonation of the first few words is always enough for me to understand like what's going on and what the tone of the scene is. If it's like a major scene, if like shit's going down, it's a climax or something, yeah, we letting that VA roll.
Okay. Still pervert shit, but I appreciate that.
Well, I also dude, it fucks it. Like if I stream or let's play something though, I let the fucking voices go, so it's pure pervertedness from, if I'm having to do anything and present it, it's full on perversion.
Pervert mode, yeah. I started to really vibe with it by the end, even though it probably added like 10 hours to the playtime.
Voice acting adds a lot.
Because it turns it into like an audio drama, basically.
Yeah.
The VA is really good, and it helped me get closer to the characters. I am closer to the characters as a result of playing it this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, what really, really brought it home for me is like the last like quarter of the game, the build up to the climax and the climax itself. It just goes completely hog wild, full visual novel.
Yeah.
Oh. And all the payoffs at the end are fucking fantastic. It's got some teeth to it that I really, really appreciated story wise. I feel like for a lot of it, it's like, oh yeah, it's like Fire Emblem, but way better, where I just care about all the characters. And by the end of it, it is definitely not Fire Emblem, but better. It is a visual early Zero's visual novel.
Nice.
And everything that kind of entails. I think this stands next to games that from that era I love, like Higurashi and Fate. So I loved it a lot. I'm really glad that there's like 3 more amazing, apparently beloved games in this series, including one with some of the prettiest girls I've ever seen. So I'm excited for that.
Always a good reason to play a video game. Yep. It always works.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that. I think Utawaru no Anime Girls might be my favorite anime girls.
Oh, what? Wow.
I think they're just the main wife dog girl.
God. They're housewifey enough for John.
Oh my God.
He's
just one character. Yes, you definitely can pet the dog.
You can pet the dog. Well, with the visual novel, I'm betting you can pet the dog in a lot of interesting ways.
Video games are about choices, and in this one, you have to choose between the revamped version or the version with porn.
I didn't have to choose because I just got to watch some of the porn scenes on Cecile's completed save file in the original.
There you go.
The PS4 version is they have different scenes instead of the porn scenes. There's only a handful of porn scenes to begin with, and I honestly think the new ones are kind of better.
Oh,
but yeah, oh my God, I would die for a Ruru, y'all.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. That's definitely a common.
And she's one of many wives in this one. It might not be a Ruru. There's a wife for each of you in this game. Oh my God. All right. Utawaru Rumina, loved it to bits. That's my number 8. Next up is
it's me.
It's our good
you,
pal Rhett.
Yeah.
Okay, right to the point. My number 8 is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, the expansion.
There we go.
I just really love this. It's just a very good playing mini RPG, even though mini is still like probably
38 hours.
Yeah, Nintendo said I played 38 hours. I'm like, how much of that was paused? Jesus Christ. 'Cause I don't think it's actually that long, but I did kind of like get close to 100%ing it. Like I don't think I went back and did the Omega like level 70 bosses. But it's cool playing a version of Xenoblade 3 that's like a little faster paced, a little more direct to the point, and also the characters you get in the party. Like I love Xenoblade 3's party members to bits.
Yeah.
But also Rex has 2 swords.
Oh, well, there you go. John, you
He's
gotta
got
get to
2
this.
swords.
He has 2 swords.
They made Rex like
They made him Daddy Rex.
the glow up of the fucking century.
He's a daddy. He's true fucking daddy material. Jesus Christ.
And now he's got 2 swords.
And now he's got 2 swords. It's just like,
And he's just
Christ.
like the strongest character they've ever put in one of these games.
I think that's so good when you consider Rex's reputation from Xenoblade 2.
God,
He's
that's
such a
so
dork.
fucking funny.
He's a gigantic dork, turbo nerd, happy, positive guy.
Hey, two games in a row with canonically multiple wives.
Yep,
Main character.
absolutely. So good.
Excellent. The reason this is only number 8 on my list is because it is, the mini expansion. It's not a full game. And also, like, honestly, I can't really remember what happened story-wise for a lot of it.
Aww.
Like, I don't think it's even like, maybe the prequel stuff, you kind of know where it's going because it
Yeah.
is a prequel. Like, it's maybe a little inconsequential, like, oh, go over here now, go over here now. But then there is some...
Yeah.
There is some stuff at the end which is like, holy shit tier, like to kind of cap off the whole Xenoblade saga, because this is the finale of, the Klaus stuff that started in the first game.
People keep telling me that, like, there's some Xenosaga
You kind of got to
stuff
play
in
it.
there
You kind of got to play it.
I've kind of got to play it. So I'm going to probably try to look to do that over the break sometime.
Yeah. It's a really good time. I enjoyed it a lot. But also, I'm fucking done with how long chains take.
Chains are kind of just like, if there's one thing that XC3 kind of fumbled the ball on a bit, I think it's chain attacks, yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have them at the start in this, and I thought they were just gone.
And I would be like, oh, great!
Because they have this new thing, like a 2-character finisher. Oh, also, because there's only, like, the main 6 characters, you can actually change the pairs.
Oh,
So you can have...
interesting.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. They each have, like, their different combos and bonuses. Like, Shulk and Rex, or Shulk and, A.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because they only had to make so many pairs available. But then you actually do unlock chains, and it's just like, combat takes forever again.
Okay, it's this again. All right.
Yeah.
It sounds it's really weird because it sounds like Xenoblade 3 just is like, hey, what if we replaced like a PlayStation 1 game again?
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah.
Remember Death Blows? I like those.
They're fun. Like the first time you see some of those crazy finishers on the chain attacks, it's incredible. You love it. You're hype as fuck. I literally, like, every time I got one, like the first 20 or so hours of the game, I was posting it to Twitter.
Yeah.
Hey, look, everybody, look how cool I am.
This is basically that, but the whole game is, you can probably beat it in 20 hours, which you don't get as exhausted.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a really good time. Like, they got their collectionist aspects down so good where I was like, oh, I'm just going to explore fucking every inch of this map because it's not insurmountably huge. And again, I didn't like Torna at all because of how much they padded it out.
Yeah,
and in this one, where it's like relatively streamlined, then I'm like, oh, I'm going to do everything.
Yeah.
You just want them to tell you have to.
Yeah, it's really kind of mental. Like, Torna just making you do side quests. Like, just having a bar, like, do 40 side quests.
Do
and then
40 side quests! Get out of here!
Yeah, so Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed is my number 8.
Awesome. All right, I do believe we've got a few more listener lists to chew on through. John, I do believe you got one for us.
I sure do. Our next list is from Fresno.
Oh, I know them.
Hello, Frez. All right. Hello, Socks Pals. It's your favorite blue-haired weirdo from Newfoundland. Newfoundland?
I think it's Newfoundland.
Newfoundland. I got it right the first time.
Yeah.
I'm here to give you a handful of very good computer video games which I played in the year 2023. Let me launch right into it so I don't keep you here for an eternity. Number 3, Resident Evil Remake. Survival horror as a genre has always intimidated me, so it was with fear and trepidation that I dove into this at long last. What I found changed me and helped me understand the appeal of the genre. Cautious exploration and careful preservation of limited items led me to turn the halls of this haunted mansion from monster-infested hallways into something familiar, something I could fight back against and make my own liminal space out of. It was a great feeling to finally get survival horror, and I don't think I could have picked a better introduction. Number 2. Oh, I love this game. Final Fantasy Legend 2. Akitoshi Kawazu continues to be an absolute genius, and this just might be the best RPG of his I've played. It's maybe my fave too. There's a breezy, almost episodic style to this saga game as you go to strange new worlds and solve problems there. It's nice and light, unlike the other shoe drops in the back quarter. Until the other shoe drops in the back corner, you get that Kawazu edge.
Yeah!
Unlike other games of his where the mechanics kick you while you're down, this game waits until you have a handle on it before it asks you to survive an onslaught of its bullshit. And as such, I felt well-armed in my fierce struggle to just make it through the game in one piece. This was an absolute fucking blast. I swear, the finale of FF Legend 2 is like some of the hypest I've ever been beating an RPG.
Nice.
Number 1, Atari 50 and The Making of Karateka.
Oh, yeah, this thing looks so dope.
A doubleheader as both sort of do the same thing. These games transcend multiple mediums to become something truly special and rarely seen in the video gaming world. They are a mix of retro game compilation, documentary, and coffee table book, which combine to become incredibly thorough looks at not just old games, but the very history behind their legacy and creation. Atari 50 is macrocosmic, looking at the history of the game company through their ups and downs, while Making of Karateka is deeply microcosmic, a story of one game designer tinkering on his Apple computer in the 80s and pulling back the curtain to show you every step of his design process. They're not just great collections or well-told stories of game history, but a bold step forward in video game preservation, and that earns them the top spot for this year. That'll do it. So thanks for reading, and let's make it 2024 a blast, y'all. Thanks for writing in, Prez. Lots of love.
Much appreciated. All right. Do believe...
Prez was one of my NaNoWriMo buddies this year.
Really nice. Yeah, that's right. A bunch of people were taking part in NaNoWriMo this year. So, yeah. Good stuff. All right. Do believe I have listener list to add to the pile. Here we go. This one comes in from our favorite artist of all time. It's our good pal, Sayara.
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, all right. Sayara says... Hello. Did you know I actually played video games in the year 2023? Like, one that isn't a rhythm game or Picross or a Zelda randomizer? I got 3 games. They're not in any order, just 3 games I played during 2023. I respect that hustle. I respect that.
But they are numbered.
They are numbered, strangely enough. So, 1, Super Mario RPG Remake. It's probably cheating to put this one as I'm wrapping it up, but barring a few nitpicks of names and translation things, the game is every bit as charming as it was playing it like 16 years ago. Yeah, it would have been so hard to fuck that game up, really. Up next, number 2, Super Mario Wonder. It is no surprise that 2D platformer Mario is probably my favorite style of gaming. Mario Wonder is absolutely a fresh reimagination after how stale the new Mario series had become. Yeah, I can agree with that. While it does suffer the usual Mario pitfalls, it's colorful and polished enough that I could just look past it. Except the one level masquerading itself as a rhythm stage jumping and with jumping and rising lava. Red'll know which one this is.
There is one level, like, it's the special world that you can unlock in World 2, which is pretty early. Mm-hmm. That's, like, the hardest level in the game.
Oh, wow. And
it's fucking, like, one frame wall jumps the whole time.
Oh, man.
Oh, that sounds like... It sounds delightful and also like torture.
Extremely funny watching streamers hit that point.
Like
going,
that
what
early
the hell
in the
is
game.
this?
Like that early in the game, and suddenly it's Super Meat
like
Boy.
You're maybe doing like the 2 and 3 star difficulty levels, and then they hit you with a 5-star.
Wow, that's really awesome. Yeah, this game sounds fun. I actually can't wait to get to it. And 3, Disgaea 5 Complete. I bought it on a whim for the Switch. I had not played Disgaea since Disgaea 2 for the PS2. It has been my go-to for waking up in the twilight hours waiting for work so often. It's Disgaea. It's grindy, and it's ridiculous. It has a meaningless story, but it was fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. Anyway, thank you for another year. On to the next one. Cheers. Very much appreciate that, Sayara. Thank you so much for your list. Rats, do you have another listener list for us?
I do. This one comes in from Don 1989.
Oh, God, I was worried. Thank God. We can actually now, this can actually be a Game of the Year show. Thank fucking God. Oh, okay. Our favorite listener finally drops in. All right. I was getting worried there. I was getting a little worried.
Hello, dear members of the Sockscast. And John.
And John.
Never saw this one coming, Well, John might be surprised like the previous year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. Switching topics right now. It had been a rough year for many people, so some nice end-of-the-year list might be just be what we need to get a much-needed break. So without further delay, here's one of those lists. Number 3, LEGO DC Supervillains. Many of these LEGO games will deliver a good time, but this one might be one of the best. It has fun superhero action, a goofy sense of humor, plenty of characters to collect, tons of secrets to find, and the ability to make your OC character, who actually plays a big role in the story. So basically Sonic Forces, but good. Beautiful. Number 2, Mega Man X Drive Offline.
Whoa!
Ooh,
now
I didn't expect
that shocks me. That shocks me.
The idea behind this game is utterly shocking.
Yeah, no kidding.
What if you take a decent mobile game, put it on Steam, and most importantly, remove all of the predatory bullshit from it? The end result is a surprisingly addicting game where you can unlock a shocking number of obscure Mega Man characters like Bit. Who even remembers Bit from Mega Man X3? And number 1, Freedom Planet 2.
Hey, there you go.
This is a game I feel like didn't get a lot of recognition.
This game came out, everybody I know played it, and then nobody said a word about it.
Oof. Unfortunately. Okay, so now talk about a massive improvement over the already great first game. The visuals here are on the same level as some of the best 2D Sega Saturn games. The music is still amazing. The game has even more stages and even more epic bosses, resulting in one of the most bonkers end games in any action game. This is truly, what if Treasure made a great Sonic game? I wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. May your next year be filled with joy and podcasts.
Well, I don't know about that second part.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure we can work in some joy. Just podcasts? I don't know. Thank you so much, Don. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. All right, I
could use a break.
I was going to do an audio list and then do a break. Just to
Sorry, I forgot about the audio break.
Thanks, John. Thanks.
I ruined it.
You ruined it. I'm going to leave all this shit in just so people know what I have to fucking deal with. Do you hear this? This is what you guys wonder why we don't do podcasts anymore? Look what I have to deal with. Fucking
Johnny has to pee.
You gotta pee. My little bladder's gonna splatter.
Well, now this does have to stay in.
Yeah. It's absolutely staying in. All right.
It's gonna splatter.
Yes. Our next listener list comes to us in audio form from Elfino, a.k.a. Little John, on the Discord, and we are going to give that a listen in a 3, a 2, a 1, play.
Hello there, podcast listeners. This is Elfino, coming to you with the SocksMakePeopleSexy.net Game of the Year 2023. Coming at you with a crappy MP3 app on my cell phone because I have shitty equipment to work with. But, enough of that. Polly tells me that I've only got 5 minutes to do this, so we're going to do 5 minutes mark right about now.
Or I'll kill you.
So, number 3, 2236 AD Secretary Stories.
Oh.
Nice and short. I liked it. Of course, Masako is happy in this story, so that gets a big thumbs up for me.
Baby.
And gets treated so much better than the main game. And number 2, Find Love or Die Trying. A harem VN where the main character isn't a complete idiot or a douchebag? No, and a harem where every girl is a candidate for best girl? dude, sign me up. I am all for that. And yes, every girl is candidate for best girl, even Tara. But, I think Polly would probably disown me if I didn't say Kat. Yes, Kat is MVP.
Damn right.
I got that out of the way. And then finally, number 1, Saya no Uta.
Oh!
Holy shit, goddamn. I remember when this game first came out, and I was hearing all the stuff from 4chan, and they were losing their goddamn minds over it. Oh, it's got gore. It's got underage looking girl with lots of sex and rape, and I'm like, nah, that ain't me, buddy. And you know what? I was wrong. That was incredible. It was a horror story with a love story somehow mixed together, featuring horrendous people that somehow made me misty-eyed in one of the endings of the game. I mean, I'm quite blown away by it. And I didn't know how much I needed a dark, twisted love story in my life. It's good. It's damn good. The story is structured so perfectly that when I read the fucking horrible IDW The Song of Saya comic book, I gained a greater appreciation of it, because the comic shows that the visual novel story was so perfectly structured that if you go around changing shit, it all falls apart. It's incredible. So, I kind of blasted through that kind of fast, but from what I hear, it's going to be a long podcast, so might as well make mine short. Thank you, Polly, for playing these games, and thank you for posting them and letting me be a part of watching them. So, with that in mind, this was Elfino with my top 3 games of 2023 for socksmakepapalsexy.net. Omaha Steaks.
I get it, because that's a very funny.
Thank you.
That's a very funny Saya no Uta joke. Omaha Steaks. If you know Saya no Uta, you'll know that that's very funny. So yeah.
6 years ago, I put that on my list. Vindication. All these years later.
It's finally happened.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's one of those games where you get to it eventually, and it's just like, why didn't I play this like the 8 years ago that I actually acquired it?
I love the descriptions of 4chan being exactly how it reads on the Steam forum now.
Yeah, it's literally like that game's whole thing. It's like, oh my god, it's the most demented, crazy thing anybody's ever made! This video game will drive you crazy! Fucking virgins.
Most romantic story of all time.
God damn it. All right, throwing it over to Mr. Bladder himself, John Thayer, for number 7. Is it number 7, a number 1, a number 2? Who knows?
I'm sorry for keeping you all waiting for 45 minutes, but I'm ready to continue.
Yeah,
Not that much of an underestimation.
Yeah, that's...
All comes back to the bathroom humor and on the Sockscast. Disgusting. Honestly, grow up.
So lowbrow.
Oh. Anyway, my number 7 is a not at all grosser or lowbrow entry. My number 7 is Victim Doll.
Oh,
great name.
Yeah, well, I think I've got an idea of what this game may be about.
Okay, so this is by far the porniest entry on my list.
It's really porny.
Oh, you played this one?
Yeah, I played Victim Doll.
I really like this one.
It's good. It's good. I liked it.
This is a game by Freya, Communist Sister on itch.io as part of the Domino Collective. So basically, I played 3 big games stick out for me. I haven't played Freya's newest game yet, but I played Winter, I played Victim Doll, and I played Trauma Kitty 4.sex. Trauma Kitty.sex?
It's a great name.
Trauma Kitty 4.sex.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think Trauma Kitty 4 is kind of the big favorite for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I really liked Winter. Basically, there's an arc here of Winter is very restrained and kind of quiet queer love story that's like very kind of nuanced and subtle and beautiful. I really, really liked it. It hit me really hard. Victim Doll is about an android. I think it's explicitly a sex android, who's just basically like trying to pay rent. Like she's not owned by somebody, but she is paying rent, and just trying to keep her head above water, basically, and taking on ugly jobs in order to do that. And then Trauma Kitty 4.sex is a just buck wild. It's like 5 different engines. It includes like RPG Maker, and like 6 other engines inside of it. It's a whole multimedia thing, and it's gorgeous. And it's very porny. It's like the really big one that like goes hard, and and it has a really, really huge ending. Victim Doll is sort of like my just right porridge. It is just right in the middle, where it is like more over the top and ridiculous than Winter, but still kind of staying grounded in this one character's journey.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. It hit me hard, but also it's really hot. So I had a very good time. This is like a robot Guro game. And there is a trans-inclusive robot Guro sex scene that's consensual and extremely romantic.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
The hottest scene was the uglier one earlier in the story for me, but that one was really good too.
Yeah.
That romance is what really kind of brought it over the line for me and made it something I wanted to include. It just stuck the landing so well there. So I love this game to bits. Domino Club has just been a delight to keep up with over the last couple years. This year especially, I've just been playing way more. And there's just so much great stuff coming out of that crew, and it's been a blast to keep up with. So I'm really excited to play Freya's next game. Life is good. Victim Doll is great.
Yep.
Who's next?
I do believe Rhett
Hi.
would be next. Number 7. A number 7.
You want a number 7?
Nick, give me a number 7. I don't know
I
don't know why I'm New York there.
I'll give you a number 7. My number 7 is Pizza Tower.
Hey, perfect. I could not have fucking...
That's perfect.
Wow. Our Sagui game is on fucking point.
Hey, give me a Pizza Tower.
Hey, a pizza pasta.
I had a lot of fun with this one. I haven't actually played any of the WarioWare games. So this was like all new, but this one, from what I gather, is like, hey, what if Wario played a lot more like Sonic? It like was just very, very fast.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what this is. This is like Wario Land 4 on crack.
Yeah, this whole game is like super manic from the animations and like the style, just the 90s cartoon, like deformation and animation.
Oh my god, there's so much expression in this game.
There's so much expression and just insanity. Like every level just having like these different themes and gimmicks and visual styles at some points. And there's the reason it kind of stuck on my list is because there's one level at the end called War that I thought was good enough to be the final level. Because the thing in this game is that you get to the end of the level and you blow up a thing and then you have to do the escape. Yeah. Which is like the most fun part of the level, like the timed escape sequence. The War level is different. The whole thing is the escape. And it's just this smorgasbord, I don't know, of like violence. Like you get a shotgun and you just like the pizza guy in this game, he's very mad. Like he looks kind of innocent and like skittish at the start, but he's also like very angry. Yeah. Like so like basically the last normal level, you have a shotgun and you're just dashing through this level while like bombs are dropping. Like the whole place is exploding and you're shotgunning through enemies. And I thought it was such a cool level. I'm like, wow, that was like a good finale to the game. And then it's not over. Then you have the actual final boss, which goes insane.
Yeah.
And then there's the actual escape finale for the tower itself, which goes insane. This game it stuck the landing so fucking hard that it had to be on the list. Because when I played it at the start of the year, I was like, oh, Game of the Year contender, huh?
Oh, wow.
Like, because I think it was like basically my favorite thing I'd played in January. So it's like, okay, there's the first one to probably earn a spot on the list. And so here it is at number 7.
Like, it came out. It came out. I remember this being a thing with John for a long time.
Yep.
Being very angry.
I forgot about it. Then when I started talking about it just now, I was like, oh, right, fuck.
Yeah, John.
It's so funny.
John was real angry about Pizza Tower for a long time.
It's just like, it was like, for like 5 years, it kept getting like traction online, getting like a bunch of like, everyone would share the GIFs.
Yeah.
The creator had like nothing else on, had like no other projects. They were making like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, like thousands of dollars per month from Patreon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do y'all just assume why do y'all think this is going to get made?
It's like, as far as you could have considered at some point, it's just like, this is just a fake IP made to sell merchandise.
Yeah.
It did not feel like the game was ever going to come out. Like, it's just like, I understand game making takes a long time, but like, I feel that like this dev in particular could have done a better job at communicating like where this game was in development. But that like, I'm not trying to let that shit on the parade at all. I just thought that like, I just remember that being a very funny arc with John being very angry about Pizza Tower for a while.
And then it came out and everybody loved it.
Yeah, everybody loved it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Y'all did it.
Because I don't think I really heard of it until it was like, okay, here is the release trailer. It's going to be done next month.
It's finally coming out.
And then I hear all the John snarkiness, like, oh,
wait,
it's never coming out. I'm like,
one of the devs actually, like, when John made a snarky tweet, didn't one of the devs actually say, no, it's like literally coming out next month?
That's what I posted about how nobody ever finishes their Mega Man Battle Network likes, and then one of the people who was making one added me and said, I'm gonna give you a free copy if we don't have it done by March.
Oh my god!
And released it like 2 days before the deadline.
Yeah,
I'm like, God damn, you did it!
You did it.
Okay.
No, but this one I got added by a fan for a year-old tweet where I was called it a scam.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They're like, well, guess what? It's real. And I'm like, yeah, you got me.
You got
it.
Right.
John over here eating some crow.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, hey, if you're going to eat crow and it's at the expense of a very cool game coming out.
Yeah. No, this is a win.
I'll take that. Like, yeah, like I'm excited to play this game. The mood hasn't found me yet, but I haven't.
The tutorial is bad. I will give it that.
Oh, God. Yeah, I tried the tutorial, and it's just like the tutorial just throws everything.
It shows
at
you every single move
and
just in a line.
It just kind of killed me. Like, dude, I can't keep all this in my head right now. Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Pull back.
The controls in the tutorial are, like, they definitely take some getting used to, because there's a lot of moves.
Yeah, there's a lot
For some
of moves.
reason, in a game where you don't, like, take damage until the bosses, which do damage you, are very hard.
Yeah.
Like, the difficulty is kind of crazy.
Very weird. It's a cool game, though.
It's a very strange and interesting game. I might replay it, because it's also not very long.
It's very short, yeah.
Like, the thing about these RPGs is like, cool, I'll never play you again.
Oh, it's the saddest,
like,
saddest moment, isn't it? Like when you play a really cool RPG and you're just like, yeah, it's great, but I'm probably never going to play you again.
Imagine going through every Trails game a second time.
Oh, but dude, no, I can't. Like,
Yeah,
I will
exactly.
happily watch people stream those games again.
yeah.
Like, I've done that a lot. Dude, I think like at every point, like there's going to be like some person on my following list who is just discovering Trails, and like the dude that I'm at right now just finished Azure, and he's gonna start Cold Steel like next month, I think. So
nice.
Yeah,
Get that contact high.
Yeah. So I will happily re-experience those games through other people. But yeah, like with something like Pizza Tower, where it's just like that's easy to load up and just play through again. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some crazy stuff in this game where, like, you can do the escape twice to get, like, an S rank. Mm-hmm. And then, or it's called P rank is the actual highest one, like the perfect runs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people modded the game to make it so you have to do those twice.
Oh, God.
Where you have like 1 second of leeway. Like, people went nuts with this.
Yeah, like, this is a game that's like, I imagine this game is going to make very good showpieces
Speed
at
runs,
like
yeah.
at a GDQ somewhere or something. It's going to be very, very
Actually,
cool.
probably already did it.
Yeah, I
The
wouldn't
Summer
be
Games
shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if it was already in a GDQ
Yeah.
or if it's in a GDQ coming up. I would not be shocked.
Yeah, like the movement can get like super ultra technical.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In a crazy way. Yeah, it's a cool game.
Yeah.
Polly,
Hey!
what's your number 7?
My number 7. Hey, chalk this one up to... Ooh, there's one I absolutely want to get to, and then for some reason you don't play it for 6 years, and then you finally get around to it. This is a name people might know if you're into kind of games that I'm into. Detention.
Oh,
Yeah, this one.
Oh.
Yeah, Detention's a heavy one. It's a story that takes place in Taiwan during the White Terror period, where Taiwan was under martial law for over 50 years. Gives you any idea of how hard this one's going to start punching. Well, there you go. We started out already. It starts out in a school and what feels like your standard fare setup for a horror game with lots of like, oh, it's got bloody imagery. There's heads lying around. Oh, crazy voices and apparitions that are chasing you around. Lights are flickering. There's weird sounds and there's a point where you are slapped in the face and suddenly realize, oh, this is absolutely a horror game, but the horror that it's truly depicting goes far above and beyond the surface level horror of the tricks that it's presenting. I don't want to say a whole lot more because I think that this is one that if you haven't, you absolutely should play it. It's literally only like 2 or 3 hours. It's a very easy to play kind of point and clicker, very easy to kind of, set aside an evening. This one hit me like a ton of bricks, with the way that like a good piece of media is supposed to really. Like this thing left me just feeling so, by the end, like you really feel the weight of like the lives of the characters that are being presented and like how they are being affected by this period in time and even though I think like the circumstances and the events are different, I feel like there's like definitely parallels with some things that are going on in the world right now that make it a lot more unsettling to kind of think about, like even now I played this game like 6 months ago. And it's still just kind of like, oh, man, that one's just kind of sticking to your soul a little bit in a way that you didn't expect. Like, this one's art. Like, this game is art. It's really affecting and deep and just really impactful art. And I'm really glad that I finally sat down and gave it a go because it was not what I was expecting. Like, it completely got me with, like, the horror trappings. I thought, all right, we're going to do the horror video game. I run away from the scary monsters. I hear the baby crying voices. Oh, look at you. You're a horror game. And then the story starts.
Blindsided you with the art.
And then the story starts unfolding in an entirely different way. And I'm just like, oh, God. This feels so bad. So yeah, the game will probably make you feel bad. Word of warning for that going in, but it's one of those where it's just like, I think it's really important. I think this is an important game. Yeah.
I mean, this is the one that was also like taken off Steam because the Chinese government wanted to suppress it, right?
I think it was their
that's
follow-up.
the sequel.
I think that was their follow-up game.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like this one's still around. This one's still pretty highly regarded. You can still buy this one on Steam too.
I think you can buy the second one as well from like an external site now.
I think you just have to
It's
buy
been a
it.
little bit.
You have to buy it direct. The second game, which I don't think it's a sequel or anything because this is this is a standalone piece. But yeah, like their second game, which I don't remember the name of. I know it's another one-word title, but yeah, like you gotta go to their website to buy that second one because the Chinese government went batshit crazy over some stuff. But Detention is amazing. Like that this one just kind of caught me so off guard, and then it stuck with me in that way that like a good story does. And yeah, absolutely.
Devotion, that's the one.
Devotion, yeah. This one is absolutely worth checking out, though. Like, if you've got any way to do so, absolutely do it. It's 2 to 3 hours. Won't take you that long. Won't say you'll have a good.
Cool.
I won't say you'll have a good time with it, because I don't think this game's that. But you will have a time with it. I will say that. I think that it will at least leave you feeling something. At least.
Cool.
All right. Moving on, we are going to jump back to our listener lists. And Rhett, I do believe you got one for us.
I do. This comes in from Toasty.
Hey, dear Termont Toaster, friend of mine that I met through one of my Let's Plays who's stuck around and has been a really cool friend for a while. Everybody go check him out. He's
Nice.
rad. He's rad.
Okay, they say, "Hi, I'm Toasty, also known as Dear Tomaten Toaster,
Well, there you go.
and I will now share 3 good games with you, all of which I've played this year, 2023. Resident Evil 4. I would probably list the RE4 remake here and write a paragraph about how fucking beautiful they made Ashley. But I haven't played that yet, so I'll stick to telling you that RE4 is a really cool action game.
Hell yeah, it is.
I love that the original and the remake are both
They're
now.
both represented.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Good list.
Next up is Decarnation, a non-RPG Maker horror game that was clearly very inspired by RPG Maker horror games, and that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Boku no Natsu Yasumi 2, a masterpiece of interactive storytelling. It's like you took the NPC dialogues from a Trails game and made the whole game that, without the main story or combat or anything. It's just the walking around and checking on NPCs and some optional minigames. And it's great, and I cried and I laughed, and it just all makes sense. Thank you, you're very cool.
Hey. All right, John.
I've got a listener list.
Let's do it.
All right, my next one is Mary Kay. Mary Kay here with my games of the year. Thanks for writing in, Mary Kay. Number 1, TraumaKitty4.sex by Protect Nude Incorporated Software. Fucking amazing game. I'd include every Domino Club game on this list, but we'd be here all night. It's got piss, feet, psychosexual drama, and an ending determined by your geolocation. It takes the cake for weird, amazing game of the year. There is so much piss in Trauma Kitty 4.
So much piss. So much piss
Oh my
in
God.
John when he went and pissed for 45 minutes. That's where they got all the piss. That's where they got all the piss for Trauma Kitty, is they just sourced it from John.
But I'm like, wait, geolocation?
Yeah,
the game
like,
fucking
what is
doxes
this?
you?
What is the game doing with your geolocation? What the hell? That's absolutely wild.
It's a lot. Play these games. They're pretty great.
I feel like there's not going to be a consensus game of the year from everybody so far, but I feel like Domino Club is kind of killing it right now.
Yeah, I feel like we had Chorus Sweep last year, and now we've got Domino Sweep this year. Is that what's happening? Is it hashtag
Pretty jazzed
Domino
about
Sweep?
I'm all in favor of Domino Sweep. All right, number 2, Small Saga by Daria Nogandi. I'm biased because my mice makes a cameo in this game, but hear me out. After years of 60-hour Final Fantasies, somebody cut off the fat and made a pleasant and emotional experience, and only takes about 10 hours. The art is gorgeous, but unfortunately the game is a bit too easy. There may be a hard mode coming. Okay. A lot of new Final Fantasies are like 60 hours. The SNES games weren't 60 hours.
No, the
They were
SNES games are like
punchy.
25 to 30 hours. Also, Small Saga seems rad.
Small Saga looks so good.
I don't want to play it though because I hear it's just way too damn easy. Like if there's a hard mode, I'll probably look into it. But well, I watched somebody play it and it just seemed way too brain dead easy for me. And it's just like, nah, I am a mature gamer who needs mature gaming experiences for mature gamers like myself.
God, it's gorgeous though.
It really is pretty. It's a really, really cool looking game.
Number 3, Rainworld Downpour by Video Cult and various community developers. This breathes new life into a game that I initially never thought much of. It introduces 5 new campaigns with different map changes and mechanics that make the struggle different each time. The game truly makes me feel like a small, scared prey animal. Running theme.
Yeah, I'm noticing that.
Excellent. Thanks for the Gotti podcast as always, and Bappy Nude Deers.
Bappy New Deers to you as well.
Thank you, Mary Kay.
All right. And I also have another listener list from another person who I do believe is a first-timer, been in the community for a while, sent me an absolutely lovely message after the community showcase, which brightened my world, just so you know. This one comes in from Chris L. Good pal. Says, hello, SMPS. Happy to be a part of my first Gotti episode. Let's get to it. Number 3, Neon White. Viscerally satisfying action platforming, structure that rewards creativity and getting good, compelling, lovable, and very stupid characters with fantastic voice acting, and that delectable Machine Girl soundtrack. Oh, you got me there. I did not know Machine Girl did that soundtrack. I've been adverse to high difficulty games for a while, but Neon White helped me move past that, opening a new door of experiences in the process. This is some of the most fun I've ever had playing a video game. Number 2.
Neon White looks so gorgeous.
Number 2. I'm going to hold myself in. I'm going to wait for the squeeing to stop after I say it. Number 2. Facets plus Wayward. Go ahead.
Called it.
Go ahead. You sounded like an old witch lady. You sounded like I feel like
we expected.
I feel like I could dub you over like the opening of Dark Souls 2.
All right, read me that beautiful blurb.
All right, here goes. This 2-hour default RPG Maker Assets game stuck with me more than most other games with huge budgets and many more hours to work with. Playing as bad guys is interesting, as it often is, but reading Wayward afterwards successfully made me feel awful in the best way. I have to give John a lot of credit for empowering me to create this year. His Small Games article planted a seed, Facets watered it, and Wayward made it flourish. Thanks for showing me what's possible, friend.
Thank you, Chris. If the number one outcome of that article going viral this year was Chris joining the community, that is a huge win.
I think we got a number of people. I think we got a number of people from that article, actually, and it sounded like a lot of people who wanted to dive more into creativity thanks to it. So yeah, welcome, welcome everybody. We're happy. All right, and the number 1, East 2, Ancient East Vanished, the final chapter. Yeah. I could easily give Gotti to East 6. Its gorgeous environments, expressive combat, and more compelling writing, but ultimately 2 just hit me better. The bosses are freakier, the guitar music is incredibly hype, and I simply love Bump Slash. I know that there's like a Bump Slash game coming out from, what's their name? I know that.
Oh, from Analgesic
Yeah,
Studios.
from Analgesic that I'm very interested in. So yeah, more Bump Slashes on the way. You even get to transform into a Roo and talk to monsters, which I think is like the coolest part of East 2, honestly.
It's so good.
East has turned my world upside down with what RPGs can be. They're so snappy in moment-to-moment action and overall structure, yet still manage to tell a potent, big, dumb JRPG story. These early entries are beautiful in their efficiency. Thanks, SMPS community, for being a bastion as the world crumbles around us. Here's to another year together. I also want to give a shout out to Chris's partner, Alex, who does, she has Alex's Cute Store. It's Alex's Cute Shop, I believe, on... And I'm currently actually wearing one of her shirts right now. So, yeah, the I'm Out of Here shirt is very, very cute. And I got it in a very nice purple. But yeah, also absolutely check out Alex-esque's stuff. It's really, really fun. Really, really cute. So yeah, thank you so much, Chris, for writing in. We very much appreciate hearing from you. And we could not be happier that you're here with us.
I'm very happy
wrote in.
Pardon?
I'm very happy someone is finally appreciating East 2 as one of the better ones.
East 2 does, I know East 2 is not my favorite just because I feel like when you get to that second half, it gets real hard to know where you're supposed to go. And yeah, I lost the plot a number of times playing East 2. I still think it's good. It's just maybe I think 1.
I really need to revisit it. I played East 1 a couple times.
Yeah, like
I've only done the once.
I can throw on East 1 like in any evening and just kind of blaze through that game. So yeah. All right, we have another audio submission coming in from good pal, long-standing community member Carmichael McCallis, Murgatroyd. All right, and 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah, I feel that.
fuck this year. Unless your name is Katie, then you have a reason to like this year. Hello everyone, Carmike McCallis here with my games I played this year. As with the past few years, special mention to Satisfactory and Final Fantasy XIV for being games I can play all year round with little difficulty. First up is Power Wash Simulator. The name says it all. You're power washing shit. From houses to vehicles, statues, to a lot of stuff. It's honestly pretty relaxing, and I should probably revisit it again. There are times where it can get a little tedious, but given that it's also a multiplayer game, I have a feeling some of those stages were not designed to be done by just a single NB who doesn't ever use consumables. Mm-hmm. Next is Starbound. I've had a number of false starts on this game, always when I had to find a Florin village right at the start. This time I finally stuck with it until I figured out how to do that, and then the rest of the game fell into place. Starbound is an older game, sometimes referred to as Terraria in space. Well, there's more to it than that. It's not wholly inaccurate either. Despite my misgivings with the controls and how they handle certain things, I was able to play a plant girl dressed in glasses and rainbow cape with a rainbow sword, so clearly it did something right. After that, No Man's Sky. Holy shit. Holy shit, this game. I put 800 fucking hours into this game. It scratched an itch. I had a hard time playing with the settings as they are, but the game gives you the option to turn off a lot of the survival stuff that I absolutely hate. Stop putting a limit on running and jumping, damn it.
Thank you!
So that made it far more fun for me. That said, the game is incredibly jank. I got stuck in the inner walls of a space station twice after the new pirate frigates were introduced, and some of the quest stuff doesn't always update properly. I almost stopped at one point, but then they introduced a new expedition, which was fun, and then I realized that Quicksilver unlocks are account-wide, and both characters could run Quicksilver missions. And then I had to actively stop because I was moving really close to playing two characters in tandem. Holy shit, it's a fun game, though. And finally, HoloCure. It's a vampire survival style game, which I've heard described as bullet heaven since you're the source, based on the HoloLive franchise. I don't really follow anything related to HoloLive, but it's colorful and fun. The first stage's theme is an absolute earworm, though. And that's basically all I played this year. Fuck this year, and you know what? Fuck next year as well. Oh, is everything going to suddenly turn around in 2024? Fucking prove it, year. On that note, take care, everyone.
I'd love to
safe,
be wrong!
and remind your loved ones that you care about them.
Thank you so much, Carmi. Very much appreciated. As man, HoloCure, I think, is kind of making
another vote for HoloCure.
Yeah, I think it's a HoloCure sweep. I think we might have the Holo sweep. We might actually.
All right. Well, we're up to HoloCure 3 and Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed 2, and I think that this is the only two to get multiple listings so far.
All right.
I mean, if he did play it, if you want to give it a third one.
Xenoblade 3.
Xenoblade 3, yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not on the list that's coming in, then I'm not putting it on the tower.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So
don't try to boost Xenoblade 3.
So far,
I don't have a fight. I want to boost HoloCure.
Yeah,
so.
Far, this feels like very much like Rhett's getting his dream this year. We're going to have a HoloLive sweep. Cannot believe this.
It's really good. Carmichael doesn't even follow HoloLive stuff and played it.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
That's the funny thing about that game is when you see streamers play it who don't have any idea what VTubers are or HoloLive people, and they're like, "This game's just fun and crazy."
I've introduced like four speedrunner friends to it, and they've streamed it. So yeah, like people, they don't even know like who these VTubers are. They just think like the characters are cute, the game is fun. That's enough. That's all you need. That's all you need for a video game is cute characters and a good gameplay loop.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of gameplay loops, and I don't know how that makes sense at all, Red!
Actually, this is a game, my number 6, is a game with a very, very good gameplay loop.
Well, all right.
Yeah, it's Doom Eternal.
Oh, damn!
Oh
wow!
This is funny because this is the first time I think I reached back to a game I played in December of last year.
Yeah!
Like, I finished, 2 games right before Game of the Year last year, and they made the list, and then I played Doom as the next game. I was like, okay, you're eligible for next year. And here it is.
And it made a pretty damn strong climb, too.
It made it, and it went a little bit above Pizza Tower, which I wasn't surprised me.
Yeah, that's honestly shocking.
This one, so, like, remember XCOM? and how I played the first one and thought it was really good, and then I played XCOM 2, and I think it ended up as number 2 on my list that year.
Yeah,
where I got super into the sequel.
Oh yeah.
Usually, I prefer like the originals, like the groundbreaking games, but occasionally the mechanically refined sequel is the one that actually really hits for me. And that's what happened here, where I think I like this one a lot more than Doom 2016.
I think that, like, I have far more interest in playing Doom Eternal than I do, like, which is sad because I think Doom 2016 makes a good argument for itself. It's just kind of, there's something not there for me, and it feels like Doom Eternal might have that thing for me.
I think if you go in expecting either of these games to feel like classic Doom, you're always going to be disappointed.
Absolutely. That's never what I expected. Like, nothing's going to feel like classic Doom.
It's just like they made a character action game FPS.
Yeah, it just looks like Devil May Cry.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
Yeah, it looks like they finally, like, I feel like the first game was the promise of that, and it didn't quite nail it for me. It feels like Eternal got it.
Yeah. It's just, I haven't played anything that feels like this, and I'm not really actually big on classic FPS, but this one is just nonstop moving and shooting and specials, and like instead of combos, you're basically switching weapons constantly, juggling like your cooldowns on grenades and special abilities, like the alt fires and all the guns. And like, oh, there's that enemy type over there. I need to switch to this weapon and use that thing. Like, it's a lot to keep in your head, but it's just very fun when it all clicks and you're just mowing down stuff and you just feel, it's weird. It's like you're a super fragile badass because like the instant you stop moving, you're
done.
dead.
You're toast. Yeah.
Like you die so quickly. And like, again, like you're constantly like losing health, then getting it back through the glory kills. You're constantly out of ammo, then getting it back through the chainsaw. I forget what else there's a lot of systems. Like it's so kind of anti-Doom in a way.
Yeah, it feels like it wouldn't be what you would want in a Doom game, but the way everything is so fast and frenetic and feeds into one another, where like once you get into that loop, it does probably feel more like Doom.
I feel like the aesthetic of violence and like the demon killing and stuff is very Doomy, but like it's so mechanically dense with weapon switching and alt fires, and like it's just a lot of fun. Like I played the main campaign and then pretty much instantly went into the 2 DLC expansions and played through those. And like the first level in the first one was so long, I thought it was going to be the entire expansion.
Whole game.
Because it was like, this is a really, really big level. It's like a whole ship, I think, area, and then the ship like catches on fire and you have to escape. I thought that was going to be the whole thing, and then it's like, oh no, there's 2 more levels. So I'm like, shit. The last level of like the second campaign aesthetically felt like the purest thing they could possibly do in a Doom game, where it's just like full on war between heaven and hell.
Yes.
So while you're mowing down hundreds of enemies, there's also in the background like just armies clashing against each other. It's so fucking heavy metal.
Yes.
It's very cool. I like this game a lot.
Excellent.
Just the purest action game possible, pretty much.
Yeah.
The one thing, the story is garbage. Like, the story should not have even been there.
Sure.
Doom, the first one, 2016, like, it got the satire right.
Yeah.
This one doesn't.
It takes
That's the one knock against it.
Like, it
just goes pure straight with it. It's no, why are you taking this seriously?
Yeah, like that's one of the big problems that, like, Doom 3 kind of falls into. Like, I love Doom 3, but I think that, like, it takes itself so seriously that, like, I feel like if that game was just louder and bigger and dumber, it would have probably landed a bit better. But yeah, like, knowing that they kind of took it a little more serious in Doom Eternal, it's like, y'all, you know why people liked this. They liked picking up the little Doom guy and him giving it a little fist bump. That's what they're here for. They're here for Doom guy doing funny, cool shit.
Yeah. And there are... like, there's moments where characters from the first... I keep saying the first game, you know what I mean? 2016.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. When characters from 2016 show up, and, like, the tone is different because they are more kind of satire-related versus the very grim, serious battle of angels and demons. The sacred rites, the portals to hell, like, that the game normally trades. And then when you have, like, the characters that are so over the top and silly, that's, like, the tone is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But as far as the action goes, it's beautiful.
Excellent.
That's so cool.
You have a sword, right?
There's a sword.
There's a sword in Doom Eternal. Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's in the main game. It's definitely in the expansions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you get it.
I saw the sword in the ads, and I was like, "Yeah, you sold me. That's what I need. That's all I needed."
I think like the chainsaw, the sword is pretty limited. Like it just one hit kills anything, including like the other big guys with swords.
Mm-hmm.
Or like there's one enemy type that you have to fight at mid range. He's a real fucker. And people hated that because it's like, no, I just want to shoot from a distance, or I just want to get right up close.
I want to get right up in. Like, no, you got to zone this bitch.
Yeah. So, Polly, what's your number? Oh, I just realized I'm looking at the schedule and then see the 666, and I go, that's appropriate.
666. That's good. Yeah, we listed.
Polly,
yeah,
you got a second 6.
I've got the second 6 for the triad. So my number 6 dares to ask the most important question, really. What if Silent Hill, but also very cool robot girlfriend?
Yeah.
I know what this one is.
Yeah.
You immediately know it.
My number 6 is Signalis.
Oh, hell yeah.
So even though, like, this game is like a survival horror-y game, I never found anything about actually playing Signalis really, like, all that scary. Like, it's structured like one of those. You still gotta manage your items and inventory and stuff like one of those. But I never really felt, like, moment-to-moment tension. I feel that, like, the place that you're exploring is well lit. Like, it's a post-apocalyptic sci-fi shipwreckage. It's not really all that scary, I don't think. It's a very good-looking world. Like, it's very, like, there's not a lot of, like, repeated assets or anything. It's a very unique and cool place to be in. Not really sure it's all that scary, though. I think that Signalis is scary, but more so in a narrative and existential way. It's a story where, like, when more and more of the details began to kind of unravel about the area that you're exploring and, like, the person that you're infiltrating this place to find, there's definitely a part of me that, like, I kept feeling tense up every time. Just like, okay, cool, can we, like, stop now? I don't like how this feels and where this, I know what happened. Don't show me, don't tell me. And that's, like, the emotional intensity that I got from Signalis. Is maybe, like, it didn't land so much as a survival horror game, but as a narrative-focused experience. I really, really like this game's story. I think it's really, really good. I feel like I felt like the gameplay could betray the narrative and ending a lot, and that really set a bad first impression. I played this game the way that you're supposed to play survival horror games, and the ending that I got felt like a complete betrayal of everything that had led up to narratively everything that had led up to it. It felt like just a complete betrayal and a slap in the face in a way. But when I went in and became like a monster killing fucking machine and like just letting everything take me down to like no health, just like letting everything kill me at every opportunity, I got the ending that felt best suited to someone who was prioritizing their preservation to keep a promise, because that's what the game's about, is like this character that you were in control of, she's going to fulfill a promise. And I feel that, like, if you play a survival horror game, you're trying to preserve yourself. You're trying very hard to make sure that you stay on time. And I feel that, like, the ending you get when you do that is just a complete, like, wait, why did you interpret it that way? That feels awful. So the ending you get may kind of mess you up, just depending on, like, but ultimately, like, this game just does a lot with its narrative and presentation and its direction, a lot of which can be absolutely attributed to Ghost in the Shell, Evangelion, and like, they literally take, like, one scene whole cloth from Silent Hill, just like, whoink, that's mine now. But even though this game, other than this one instance where I was just like, you didn't change anything about taking that scene. You just did it. Oh, I guess. Okay. Other than that one instance where I just like was sitting there for like 5 minutes, like, I can't believe they had the balls to do that. And not in the good way, not in the, oh, I'm impressed way, but I'm just kind of like, I'm shocked that you did that and didn't put any kind of spin on it. But other than that, like, everything, like, it never felt like a cynical referencing or like, we're just doing this because Evangelion did it. No, we're doing it because it felt like it worked for the story. Like, everything that it does feels like it mostly plays to the story's strengths. It helps make everything kind of like feel aesthetically right. So yeah, like I like, this is a game where, like, one of those games where, like, I had my eyes on it for like 2 or 3 years before it came out, and I feel like I got what I wanted out of it, even if, like, you know, like, I had kind of been led that it was going to be like this survival horror-y kind of like scary moment to moment thing. And even if it wasn't that, I'm glad that, like, the story kind of, you know, in the end carried this one really long way for me, because I got really into the story, the characters. I really liked the lore. I went out of my way to, like, find all of, like, the data files and, like, all of the voice logs and shit, just because, like, I wanted to know everything I could about this world and these characters and, like, what led them to where they're at. And then when I found out, and it was just like, oh, it's absolutely terrifying and awful, and that headspace made me feel just real squicked out for a while. And so,
excellent. Yeah, this one's really gorgeous, and I'm excited to get to it.
Yeah, it's a very, very good game. I don't really know what else I can say about it.
I mean, it's funny because you had, like, you kind of expressed, like, your experience with it, which was a little complicated.
Yeah,
you felt really negative coming off that ending, but then you kind of came back around to it on your second playthrough.
Yeah, I played it again because it's just like I know that this is not where I need to land with this game. I know that there's so much here already that I like. There's got to be something here. Like, this has just got to be a fluke. Like, I fluked in to, like, the worst possible ending that I could have gotten at that time. If I maybe have gotten that ending at another point, I don't think that I would have had such as a strong emotional reaction to it. I did, but, like, the way that I had, like, you know, the story is telling you, like, you know, I cannot die until I fulfill this promise that I made to this person, you know, and it's like, I'm doing everything I can to preserve that, you know, and then the game spits in my face over it. And it's just like, like, if they had just reversed the ending requirements for those two endings, I think it would have made more sense. So yeah, Signalist, it's really cool. It's got a great aesthetic. I love the way that it plays with, like, radio signals and shit. Like, it's just fun. Like, it's a solid game, like, top to bottom. Like, I can't really complain too much about it. Other than the times that I did complain about it. So,
I mean, messing up the ending is pretty
big one. It's a pretty big one. Like, but thankfully, like, again, that there are other endings there that aren't as oofa doofa. Whew. Yeah, Signalist is great, fantastic. Awesome. John, I do believe that you are going to be closing us out for the day. You started with a barn burner, and now you've got the pressure of making sure that the first day lands in the hearts and minds of our listeners for years to come. So what have you got?
Butterfly Soup 1 and 2.
Woo!
For number 6. Nice.
Okay, yeah, I can. You know what? There you go.
Yeah. I mean, you've just said that one. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
I had this one on my itch wish list for like 5 years, and I was just like, I don't want to play this. I don't want to play Butterfly Soup 1 and 2, but I do want Butterfly Soup. But I don't not want to play it enough that I want to take it off my list, because I go to take it off the list because I knew because I kept not playing it, and then I'd watch the trailer again and be like,
ah, damn it.
That does pretty funny. Oh, this does look pretty cute.
It's like, it's one of those games where, like, everybody's so all up on it's a dick, and you're just like, no way.
There's no way this is as good as people are saying. And then I played the first game last year, and I finished it, and I was like, all right, yeah, like, it's really, really cute and funny. It ends, like, it feels kind of half done.
Yeah.
Because it has these 4 characters, and 2 of them get a very nice and complete arc, and the other 2 do not.
Yeah.
And then they came out with Butterfly Soup, like, immediately after. And then I played that, and that's the other half. It's the other half of the game.
Didn't Butterfly Soup come out like 3 or 4 years after the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it was a long time waiting for that conclusion.
It kind of worked out pretty good for me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So I played both of these, and then now that they're out and they're a complete unit, it's just like, this is
just play
fucking stunning.
Games.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
These I love these characters to bits. God. You can add a point at each individual kind of story arc with all these characters, and each one of them is precious and perfect.
Yeah.
They just nail the character writing. They nail the comedy. It's very what's the word? There's a lot of good one-liners, screenshot lines, and I know
it's very quippy.
Everybody's taste.
It's quippy. It's very quippy.
That's exactly. I was trying to think of witty, but not that word. It's very quippy. I think this is a great example of that kind of writing.
Being
I think it nails it.
Being able to have restraint with that kind of writing, because I feel like a lot of people try for quippy and overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Butterfly Soup 1 and 2, they dial it up as far as you can go, and then they pull back 1 or 2 notches, and it's just like you found a sweet spot. Don't move that dial.
Yep, just perfect. They're like 2 period jokes that I keep laughing at when I think about the Sockscast.
There's one period joke that just fucking got me on stream in a way that I was just like, oh!
Just laughed so hard.
I just had die. You ever heard somebody die on stream before? There was me experiencing the Akarsha period moment.
Yep. Which one?
The
first one, the one in the locker room.
The one in the locker room is just my god,
shit I've ever seen.
What are you doing?
God, it's also just a delightful collage of all these different assets and references. There's a bunch of sound effects just straight up pulled from Ace Attorney.
Oh god, yeah. This is free. Butterfly Soup is free because they've got all of the references from early 2000s internet.
Yep.
That's where this game takes place in 2006, 2008-ish. So that's where it's pulling all of its references from. A whole lot of just racial stuff attached to here as well. That stuff is, oh boy, they go deep.
Yeah, these are 4 queer Asian teenagers from different parts of Asia. So and then digging into the nuances of the cultural differences between Taiwanese versus Korean the American experience.
Yeah, and it's wild. The parent
strong.
stuff is just as somebody who's dating an Asian person, I know about the Asian parents the Asian parents trope, and it's, oh boy, I learned a lot playing Butterfly Soup 2, and then understanding, oh wow, that stuff's real, huh? Oh boy.
So I had a really, it's just it's very funny and high energy and delightful playing it, but also it grounds that in a very real, grounded. It grounds that in a very real story for all these 4 kids. I came away from it just very moved, and then the epilogue to the final game hit me just so good, just the best.
You could not have had a better epilogue post-credit scene.
Pristine, perfect.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So I love these games to bits. I think they earned every bit of love and praise they got.
Yeah, they solid.
Yeah. So that's my number 6.
All right. Well, John closing it out with absolute banger. Can't argue with that. So I guess before we get out of here, we will run down our 10 to 6s one last time. And then we'll scoot on out for the rest of the day. My number 10 is Phantasy Star Universe. My number 9 is Honkai Star Rail. My number 8 is The Looker. My number 7 is Detention. My number 6 is Signalis Ret.
Number 10, Flare Nui Nui Quest. Number 9, Hollow Cure. Number 8, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. Number 7, Pizza Tower. And number 6, Doom Eternal.
And John.
Number 10, 10 Tales from the Records of the Adamant Gambit. Number 9, Photopia. Number 8, Utawara Rumino, Prelude to the Fallen. Number 7, Victim Doll. Number 6, Butterfly Soup 1 and 2.
And that will close us out for the first day. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we will be dropping the last half of each of our lists, as well as 815,000 more listener lists coming right at you. So, we hope you have a nice rest of your whatever, and we will catch you next time. But of course, we also want you to remember that we are the podcast that loves you. We are the only ones that love you.